I'm your host Kevin Myers and welcome back to the 24/7 News Show. Let's jump right in with some technology. So first we have the Google Pixel is now the fastest growing smartphone brand in America. This was rated by Strategy Analytics in a Forbes story, and while they still do not make the global top 5 smartphone vendors, they are the fastest growing in the United States. And there are a variety of reasons for this. The first one is price. Now, the Google Pixel is priced fairly competitively. It's definitely still a premium product at $700 for the smaller version of the Pixel 3 and $800 for the Pixel 3 XL. However, that is more in line with Samsung's current pricing that is subject to change with the release of the S10 line, but the S9 and S9 Plus, similar pricing there. So those are both more affordable alternatives to the iPhone 10, which is $1,000 and $1,100 respectively for the 10 and 10s, for the 10s and 10s Max, which is incredibly irritating. But so you definitely have a price advantage with the Google Pixel 2. In addition, the camera. Now they have not opted to put a dual or triple lens camera setup like Apple and Samsung have. However, they have implemented pretty decent AI into their phones, which is how they achieve their fake shallow depth of field effect, which is the blurry background effect. Now, it's fake in all the phones, and honestly, Google's is not significantly better or worse than Apple or Samsung's, but it's also not fantastic. None of them are. You can see blurred hairs, it's sometimes blurred around the edges. It's just, you need a real DSLR with real glass lenses and a variable aperture in order to get a real shallow depth of field effect that I would consider to be tolerable. Now, aside from that, we also have the Google Assistant on these phones, which is objectively better than Siri. It can carry out more tasks, search the web, it's just better. So that's not really up for debate, and that is a great positive to this product lineup. Additionally, software. Apple's software support pretty good for the first 4 years until they're like, you know what, we want you to buy a new phone now, so we're going to discontinue that because either yours is not a 64-bit phone or we couldn't think of a better reason. So then we just don't feel like giving you the update. But Apple's support generally, that first 4 years, pretty good. You get the newest update as soon as it comes out. Google's phone's very similar with Android. However, Samsung does not have the greatest software support. I have the Samsung Galaxy S8, which is only one model year older than the current one, the S9. I still do not have the latest version of Android on my phone. I have Android O, and Android P came out like last December, so that's not so great with Samsung, and a great benefit to the Google devices. Finally, the display. All of the devices now, Apple, Samsung, and Google, have Samsung OLED displays, so they're pretty similar looking between the three. So you can't really go wrong with any of those devices except for the price premium you're going to pay for the iPhone. But otherwise, basically the same. Google did have some issues with their previous models. The original Pixel only had LCD displays. The Pixel 2, there was some blue shift with their OLEDs, which were sourced from LG that time. But now with their Samsung displays, great displays, great phones overall. Let's move on to world news. And in world news, President Trump makes blatantly false statements at the State of the Union, and this data is brought to you by the New York Times. It's not sponsored in any way, but we got our facts from there. This is a top 5. If you want to read the whole article, we'll have it linked below and at the eye in the corner of your screen right now. Potentially, we'll see if we can do that. But let's get started with this. So the first blatantly false statement made by President Trump was, we have created 5.3 million new jobs and importantly added 600,000 new manufacturing jobs, something which almost everyone said was impossible to do but the fact is we are just getting started. This is false. The Bureau of Labor and Statistics has been tracking this data since President Trump took office and has said that there have been added 4.9 million new jobs to the economy, not 5.3 million. In addition to that, only 454,000 of those jobs were in manufacturing, not 600,000 jobs. So this statement is false. Let us move on. The second blatantly false statement made by the president was, my administration has cut more regulations in a short period of time than any other administration during its entire tenure. This is also false, because there are a variety of reasons, the largest of which being that you can't really govern effectively when you are constantly swapping out your staff like the Trump administration has because of various reasons, from scandal, crimes, or just in the Scaramucci example being incredibly vulgar on national television or on social media. So that is also false. Let us move on to the more hot button issues. So President Trump claimed that the border city of El Paso, Texas, used to have extremely high rates of violent crime, one of the highest in our country, and considered one of our nation's most dangerous cities. Now, immediately upon its building, with a powerful barrier in place, El Paso is one of the safest cities in our country. This is blatantly false, because number one, the wall has not been built yet. There's a reason why the government was closed for over a month, and it is overfunding for this wall. Construction has not started. Any source that tells you that it has is not true. There is existing fencing that has been there since the Bush administration, but that is all. And that is in sections. It is not a concrete wall like Trump has proposed since his campaign, and it does not span the entire length of the border. So you cannot take credit for that, President Trump. But in addition to that, El Paso was never one of the most dangerous cities in our country, and its crime rates across the country, not limited to but including El Paso, have been declining. And just to put this into perspective, in 2008, before barriers had been erected, El Paso was already the second safest city in its size class of 20 other similarly sized cities. And then 2 years later, when fencing had been constructed, the crime rate was stagnant. It had not increased or decreased at all. So this is blatantly false. And I've said this before, I will say it again. Native-born citizens commit crimes at higher rates than immigrants, illegal or otherwise. And that it doesn't matter on whether they're from Mexico or China or India or Europe, anywhere. Native-born citizens commit crimes at higher rates. So again, if your solution to crime is deportation, you're going to have to deport all the white people, which is obviously stupid. But it is just as stupid, no more less stupid, than deporting all the Hispanic people, which is his solution, which is blatantly racist and not acceptable. Let's move on, though. So, the fourth major statement he made is, if I had not been elected President of the United States, we would right now, in my opinion, nice little caveat there, be in a major war with North Korea. There is no evidence of this, and if anything, tensions have only increased since he took office, as not that long ago, back in 2017, he released a series of antagonistic tweets targeted at Kim Jong-un, leader of North Korea, calling him Little Rocket Man and saying that if North Korea tried anything, they would face fire and fury like the world has never seen. And he also, when North Korea threatened to nuke Guam, he said, "Go right ahead," in the which is obviously antagonistic and incredibly irresponsible. Now, he did, to be fair, meet with Kim Jong-un. He had the first summit between an American president and leader of North Korea, and Mike Pompeo, Secretary of State, also met with him. However, this isn't so much a major step as it is fixing a problem of his own creation. And in addition to that, if we look at the doomsday clock, which is right here, which is done by it's done by an international science organization. One of the major reasons they cited it as being 2 minutes to midnight, midnight being the apocalypse. One of the major reasons they cited was increased tensions between nations likely to result in a nuclear war. In addition, in conjunction with other issues like climate change, another problem the Trump administration refuses to address. So let's move on. Final statement regards women's rights, which of course Trump is not a big fan of. So he claimed that, quote, "We had the case of the governor of Virginia." I know he's not. I'm not defending him. Where he stated he would execute a baby after birth. This is blatantly false. Now, once again, I'm not defending Ralph Northam. I'm defending the abortion issue and the ongoing debate in the state of Virginia. I'm defending Virginia's Democratic Party, not Ralph Northam. Ralph Northam is obviously has some race issues he needs to work out and should obviously resign from his post. If you want to see my full video where we did a live stream as this information was being leaked to the public, you can go watch it now. But that is not the subject of today's video. So this statement is blatantly false because Governor Ralph Northam never at any point, neither did any Democrat, advocate for abortion after the baby has been born. That's not a thing. That is in fact murder at that point. And it is not legal, and no one has been suggesting it should be. Right here, this is from the New York Times. It says, in an interview last month, Governor Ralph Northam said that he supported a late-term abortion bill that would loosen restrictions on the procedure and allow women to consult with a doctor on an abortion up to, but not including, the time of birth. So you cannot have an abortion while your baby is being born or after being born, and at that point it would not be an abortion. So that statement is 100% false. Anyway, That is it for our fact check of the State of the Union. Thanks for watching. If you like our comment, you can subscribe, like, dislike, leave a comment, leave a rational comment below. We're fine with having pro-lifers in our comment section. Just make sure your comments are rational and not racist, sexist, or homophobic, because if they are any of those things, keep in mind we have the ability to permanently block you from commenting on any of our videos in the future. So just keep it not hateful down there. Thanks for watching the 24/7